to Digital Learning Day. So, Mr. Todd Busey is the principal and instructional leader of the Higgins Middle School. He has led the effort in Peabody to integrate technology into the curriculum. Mr. Busey champions the efforts of his students. His constant focus on a student-centered, student-driven school has led to a positive culture and authentic learning environment. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Busey.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, everybody, for coming this morning to our Digital Learning Day. Digital Learning Day, which was started, I think, in 2012, which is an opportunity for us to share the innovative practices that we have here at this school and across the country, just so that teachers can share what they're doing with technology. Sometimes they're done in little pockets across the country, and we don't necessarily see what other people are doing. So this is the purpose of today. So my opening remarks, I want to focus a little bit on the journey that brought us here to where we are today. It starts all the way back in 2011 with one of these carts that you see in front of you that, through the generosity of the Peabody Education Foundation, were donated to us. We had about 6 or 7 of these that we had teachers write mini grants for to use in their classroom. They included a laptop, a projector, and an Elmo document camera. And that's how we got technology started in this school about 5 years ago in terms of integrating technology in getting us to the point that we're at today. We eventually then moved on to iPad carts that we used here in the building that teachers could use for classroom purposes. And then it was around this time that the plans for our new building, which will be in September, started to come together. And we realized at that time that we wanted to have a one-to-one environment, which we wanted to have a device in every student's hand in the new building. So as we started to think about what a one-to-one environment would look like, we started to think more about what we could do in this building to get to that point. In preparation for that, we wanted to get a device in every teacher's hand. So a couple of years ago, I think it was 2013, we provided our teachers in this building with an iPad so that every teacher could get used to having a device, teaching with a device, figuring out what the best way to use those devices were in the classroom, and feel comfortable with it so that when we went into a new building in a couple of years, that we would be able to have a true one-to-one environment. We also began using student emails. We began using Google Apps for Education. We began boosting our Wi-Fi here in the building. We didn't have any of it before. We brought some on and we kept adding to it so that we could access this one-to-one or soon-to-be one-to-one environment at the Higgins Middle School and let teachers use this here in this building. This is where Jared comes in. Mr. Haas has been teaching this building for many years, and he came on the scene in terms of technology when he was still a social studies teacher. And he started the technology study groups when teachers had iPads and before we began to become to the place we're at now. And he was modeling the technology in his classroom. And this is, he's been a partner in this from the very beginning, and this is really the first time when we had those iPads and started to go towards that one-to-one piece where Jared started to be part of that program. With district support of our vision for a future one-to-one in the new building, we were able to make Jared a full-time position. So he now is an instructional technology specialist here, and under his, with his vision and under his guidance, we have done some things such as create the START team. Our START kids that you see here today are amazing. I'd just like to give them a little bit of a round of applause if we could. They, Jared, how many classes do you have of? Two per semester.
I'm sorry.
Two per semester, right?
Yeah,
so
per semester, yes.
28 students.
28 students between 7th and 8th grade.
Between 7th and 8th grade that are, what they're doing is they're helping the technology integration in this building. We, as Jessica in her great introduction, we try to be as student-centered as we can, and we want students to be a big part of this integration of technology here at Higgins. We also started to investigate one-to-one devices beyond iPads. We brought in Chromebooks to test those out to see how those would work in a one-to-one environment. Jared led a one-to-one visionary task force last year in which we studied all of the one-to-one options to see which way we would want to go. That led us to the decision that we made that we would be a Chromebook school and a Google school moving into the new building. So what we decided to do is pilot that this year with our Pisces cluster. We have every student in Pisces currently is involved in the one-to-one program. They have a Chromebook that they use. They use it all day. They are allowed to take it home with them. And we're modeling exactly what it is that we'll do in the new building with 1,300 students with our Pisces cluster in the 8th grade, which is about 90 kids. So that has allowed us to prepare to go into the new building with that pilot this year. We are using Google Classroom, as you saw on one of the stops on the tour this morning. We have tried to increase the use of Google Classroom through the professional development that Jared has run and a lot of our teachers here have run, and you will see some of them this morning. We created our schedule in such a way that we added professional development time into the day so that we could have technology professional development during school days for teachers as well. Just want to thank a few people. We could not have done this without the support from a central administration that truly understands that it is building-based and teacher-led input that is critical to having success in any area. And I think we're on the road to having some great success with our technology here and certainly in the new building, and without that support of what we're trying to do here from central administration, it would not be possible. Also, our teaching staff and our administrative staff here, really willing to take risks and do anything in the knowledge that it's going to help kids and share what they do and share the mistakes that have happened and share what they would do differently. Our teaching staff is excellent at doing that. Our students that are here, our students are the best. They're willing to help us along the way and show us how technology is used in the 21st century with middle school kids. Without their support, without their help, we wouldn't be able to do this at all. Our IT staff, Mark and Chris, who you're going to hear from in a second, they are not only outstanding in terms of technology, but they know how to teach. They know how to work with teachers. They are really, without them, this would not be possible at all. Sudi, who has been our library media specialist for quite a while, longer than we've been doing technology here at the Higgins, and has been with us every step of the way, and a great partner to the move that we're making to the one-to-one school. Thank you, Mrs. Smaller. And I mentioned Mr. Haas, who is, again, without his presence here as our technology specialist and without his vision for what we want to do, we would not be here today. So, Mr. Haas, thank you. Again, thank you all for coming this morning. Enjoy the presentation, enjoy what has been put together today, and again, thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today. And today I'm going to be presenting.
Speak a little bit to the morning,
Okay.
make it a little louder.
Hi, everyone. Thank you guys for coming, and I'm going to be introducing Mr. Chris Mitchell. Mr. Chris Mitchell has held multiple positions in the technology department over the last 15 years, mostly recently taking on his role of IT operations manager in early 2014. Under his leadership, the IT team has been developing a 5-year technology plan that will improve the district's networks infrastructure, laying the groundwork to allow reliable student access to the internet, connected devices, and our 21st century learning environment. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Chris Mitchell.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Mr. Busey. I like that you guys have this mic set up for short people already. That's excellent. Good morning. Thank you for being here. I just want to point out that over the past few weeks, I've seen the students put a lot of hard work and enthusiasm into this event. I think it's a testament to the direction we're moving in technology in the district. And I know it means a lot to them to see you all here. As you heard during the introduction, I've been with the district for 15 years now. And in that time, specifically over the last couple of years, I've seen a lot of notable changes, and I just want to touch on a couple of those. The first one in the last year to year and a half is the coming together of our existing technology team, which is comprised of myself, Mark LeBlanc, Ricky McQueston, and Brian Condon. And while he doesn't officially fall under the umbrella of the IT department, Mr. Harst is also most certainly a part of our team. And without all of them, I don't think I would be able to be successful in my responsibilities if they, didn't do the stellar work that they do every day. The second thing I want to point out is what we've seen recently, and it's been incredibly encouraging, is a clear commitment from central administration to move our district's technology forward. And it's been the catalyst for many of the projects that we're hoping to accomplish in the near future. I just want to touch on a couple of those. Several include upgrades to our district's network infrastructure, increases in internet bandwidth and Wi-Fi density to support increasing number of mobile devices, as well as future one-to-one initiatives, as well as an overhaul to our elementary school classrooms and mobile devices on the high school level. With this also comes a plan to replace devices following a regular cycle to ensure that our staff and students always have access to reliable equipment. Next, with this new equipment, of course, comes making sure our teachers and staff are able to use it effectively in the classroom. And in the last year or so, we've worked very closely with the Assistant Superintendent's Office to not only develop but administer professional development to our staff. And just an example of some of the things we've been doing is, I lost my place here, I'm sorry. We covered topics such as our Google Education suite of apps, and this has become an important organizational and collaborative tool between the students and the staff. Another thing I wanted to point out has been the creation of our ICTS team, which stands for Information, Communications, and Technology Services. This was spearheaded by Mr. Haas, and it includes representatives from multiple buildings right now, and we meet regularly, I'd say monthly at this point, to really just go over a wide range of topics regarding technology in the district. It's kind of an open forum, and what we're hoping to accomplish with that is creating a way to kind of collaborate and maintain consistency, not only within our buildings but across buildings. The last thing I just want to mention was we were fortunate enough to have been included in the basically all phases of planning technology for the new middle school, and that is a project we're very eager to tackling over the coming months. That is about all I have, and I don't want to take up too much time. I've also been tasked with picking up the pizzas that will be arriving shortly, so I don't want to let anyone down on that. So with that, I say thank you and turn the mic back over to Mr. Haas. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Jared Haas. I'll be introducing Jared Haas. Jared Haas is the digital learning coach at Higgins Middle School for the Peabody Public Schools in Peabody, Massachusetts. He serves as the advisor to the Student Technology Assistance and Research team at J. Henry Higgins Middle School. In daily operations, Jared Haas designed a framework for authentic teacher and student-led PD. As Google educator, Jared delivered trainings and boot camps on Google Apps for education and infusion of technology strands into the general curriculum. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jared Haas.
Well, being the digital learning coach, I have to give a PowerPoint. I mean, that's obligatory now. So I'm going to start with this slide. This is the slide for Digital Learning Day. And as Mr. Busey said, Digital Learning Day is a national event. It's an event that happens every year, and it's celebrated by schools across the country. And actually, this year, the world celebrated it. Unfortunately, it fell out on the 17th this year, so they don't really appreciate the New England calendar of school systems. So Ms. Smoller and I were talking, and we decided that we still wanted to hold the event because it was that important to show what we've accomplished in this district in the past couple of years. So we hope that you take something away from today that you may have not known before about all of the things that students, teachers, faculty, administration, different leaders in the district have been doing to promote technology in Peabody. We've come a long way, and we're at a really great place right now. So let me get started with just a brief map. This gives you an idea of where Digital Learning Day is taking place in America. So every single one of these dots is a different place. There's about 6,000 schools that celebrated Digital Learning Day this year. Again, just started in 2012. And again, the purpose of Digital Learning Day is to celebrate all the achievements of digital learning, but also to stop talking about technology and start talking about learning. It's about learning. And really, what we want to impress on you is that it's not about putting a computer in front of a student, it's about giving students opportunities. And the theme this year for National Digital Learning Day is digital equity. Digital equity is a huge issue across the country, especially for students who don't necessarily have the ability to practice using technology on a daily basis. Digital equity is important for many reasons, especially with our 21st century changing job market. We do need to prepare students for that job market. And we're not talking about the future, we're talking about the now. So in order to start thinking about why we have technology in our district, I've designed a David Letterman style top 10 reasons why technology. You're allowed to laugh, it's fine. So, Mr. Haas's top 10 reasons why technology. Number 10. Hey, kids need to use digital tools in their jobs, right? Well, number 9, let's reach all learning styles. Technology allows us to touch on learning styles that are not capable to reach every single student, but technology affords us those opportunities. Shh, quiet kids can finally participate. Students who don't like to speak in class often feel like their voice is not heard. Technology allows them to be heard. So it's empowering to students who don't feel like they're extroverts. We don't want kids taken advantage of online. With scams in the world now online, kids can be easily taken advantage of. Adults are taken advantage of. We have to give students digital literacy to understand how to combat those scams that are out there. Kids are engaged. It is relevant. This is not a tool to the students. This is their life. The ways that we can make those connections to technology connect us to them. It connects school to their lives. It makes it relevant. Kids are excited. There's nothing greater than working in a school and seeing kids excited to come to school. And even if technology doesn't excite every kid, the few kids who wouldn't be excited to come to school may now have a reason to come to school. Information is always up to date, Pluto. So with textbooks now being outdated in some cases, especially with science and some of the social studies, information is always up to date. We never have to worry about having a book where students are reading something that's no longer true. Students are the doers. This is what we have to emphasize. It's about students doing. School has so much traditionally been about teachers teaching and students taking tests and assessments. Now it's really about teachers providing opportunities for students to be the doers, to be the learners, to be the leaders. And technology affords them these opportunities that didn't necessarily exist before. Students have more control over their learning. We can pace assignments at a student's pace. If students need longer to read, they can take longer. If students need a lower level reading assignment, they can get that very quickly. This is what technology affords to schools. And most importantly, as I said before, it's no longer the future, it's the now. You know, we always talk about, oh, the kids are going to need this technology in the future. They need the technology now. It's now in the real world, and we need to address that in the schools, which we are doing a very good job in this district of doing. This was a presentation that I made to Peabody High a couple weeks ago, talking to them about technology integration. In this presentation, we talked about, and I'm not going to use the microphone, you all can hear me, I think. We talked about the fact that for the first time since I've been in Peabody, we have a solid digital platform. All schools are using Google Docs. All schools are using an MMS platform, which is the grading platform and student information system. All schools are using My Learning Plan for their evaluations. It is so seamless that if you are a second grade teacher and you go to the high school, you have the same exact things in place. Same thing for the students. When they start in kindergarten now through 12th grade, they have the same platform in place. And we have a strong commitment to that platform, which for the first time makes it so much easier for students to transition from grade to grade and building to building. So this is what Mr. Mitchell was talking about, this ICT team. So for the first time in Peabody, we have a combination of the technology department, my job, which is now sort of an emerging role in schools, digital learning, and the librarians, the digital media specialists. We all have something to bring to the table, and we're all have sort of a similar goal in order to put learning in the hands of students using technology. Since we've been meeting, we've been able to work together from K through 12 to talk about district-wide initiatives. We're no longer isolated buildings anymore talking about what's best for each building, but really a district talking about how can learning be integrated digitally throughout K through 12. we've tried to go away from this traditional model. The traditional model is that we have 4 IT people in the district and they know everything, and everyone should go to them for suggestions and solutions. We've gone to a new model, the alternative support model. It's a shared partnership between administrators, the IT department, coaches like me, helping emerging skills teachers to make that connection. And we could easily switch this with a student as well. The idea that it's a partnership between all these pieces. This was from my introduction presentation to the Higgins teachers this year. I'm a little cheesy with my presentations. A not so long time ago in Higgins, pretty close, we have tech integration like my Star Wars. This is just giving you an example of some of the things that I do with teachers and that we need to start doing with teachers and students. It needs to be more about getting people to play. It's fun, it's exciting. It's not supposed to be boring and sitting and learning how to use a PowerPoint presentation. It's about learning, well, how can I use this in my classroom? How can I connect this to my content? How do my students access this? And not just the teacher doing it, but how does the student do that? How can they make a great presentation showing what they've learned? And Mr. Busey talked about this, so I'm not going to go into much detail, but it was a story of technology integration. We started with very little, and we started building. We had tremendous support from the PEF, granting us the carts. We got iPads in the schools. We started playing, and we didn't hold teachers accountable for actually performing. It was give them computers, give them technology, and see what's possible. So it's breaking that box of saying you have to do it one way. And we did the same thing with students. You don't only have to do it one way. You can make a presentation, you can make a video, you can make a poster. The same types of traditional models we have for assessment, we're now building even greater with technology. And we're doing the same thing with PD for teachers. We had this iPad study group. It was just literally teachers sitting around talking about what is a good practice, what's not working, what's working. And I'll zoom a little bit through this because Mr. Busey did cover it. But this is really a big component of what I've done in my position here, is to focus on PD and to meet individual learners at their needs. Mr. Mitchell talked about this, how we're not looking at all teachers and students as a blanket group anymore. It's not, here's one PD for technology for 30 minutes, and you know how to use technology now. It's about some students and some teachers learn quickly, and some need more time. So why are our teachers any different than our students? And that's the mantra that we've had this year with PD. I'm going to close with this last slide, and this really gives us an idea of what we would call the future of the district. And although this is not formalized, this is the plans that we're moving toward. This idea that, starting at the bottom, in the yellow, Google Apps for Education, a single platform for all students, that when you start in kindergarten, you go through 12th grade, you can expect the same type of format for digital use in the schools, which is, I think, very comforting to parents, to know that things are not going to change all the time and that there's some stability and some structure that a kindergartner can bring skills to first grade, can bring skills to second grade and grow on them, just like we do with literacy with math initiatives. We're focusing on interoperability, which is an incredibly important concept. It means that if Higgins has Chromebooks, then the high school has Chromebooks, that the elementary schools have Chromebooks, that we're using Google, that we're using the same platforms, we're using the same types of logins. It doesn't matter if they use at school or at home, they get the exact same look to what the screen looks like. It's interoperability. We should not be giving students apps that they have to download and pay for, because that's a huge digital equity issue. And we should not be giving them things that only work on an iPhone or only work on Android. It's interoperability. It works on any device. Digital literacy. We have to train our students not only how to use computers, but why you use a computer, when you use a computer, what's the proper use of cell phones, when is it not allowed that you should use cell phones, how can you use it to learn, how can you use it to hurt, and why you shouldn't do that. So all of these pieces we have to embed into our curriculum. So that's one of the big things we're focusing on, building that digital literacy curriculum K through 12 so that students understand proper use of technology, not just how to use a PowerPoint presentation. And then finally, digital equity. Digital equity is so important we have to start considering if students don't have Wi-Fi at home, how are we going to provide it for them? These are not questions I have answers to, but these are discussions we have to have as a district. How are we going to ensure that all students have equitable access to technology? I'm pointing this out to you all because you all are the decision makers and the voice of reason that can talk about this with your constituencies, with parents, to have these dialogues about how do we best serve the needs of all students to give digital equity. I don't have an easy answer. At the bottom is sort of the plan that we're working on, that the IT department, we've worked with Ms. Murtag in order to sort of develop a long-range 5-year plan, and that includes Chromebook cards at the elementary schools, so that every elementary school is able to provide Chromebook cards so that students can train to use those technologies they're going to use in middle school and high school. That we have a take-home model where we have Chromebooks, the Chromebook computing tool, which is a cloud-based tool, which next year students 6 through 8 will be taking home at the middle school, and we're hoping and planning for a 9th grade somewhat rollout if pieces fall into play. For 10th and 12th grade at this point, for next year moving ahead, we really want to push the idea of mixed digital device. The high school has great technology. It has technology that teachers have access to, and we're just going to keep pushing that teachers have the availability of laptops and Chromebooks and labs in that school. And as we build, we're going to start rolling it out as much as we can to the upper grades and rolling it down to the lower grades. But we know for sure that the plan in place is that next year at Higgins, we're going to be one-to-one. And that's sort of the model now, or at least the Chromebook and the Google digital platform for the rest of the district. We've put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of meetings over the past 4 years into these plans. So I know many of you know this already. We just want to impress upon you just how committed we are to making this a great experience for everybody, all interested parties, parents, administrators, school committee members, city council, the mayor's office. We all want to work together to have a cohesive plan. And that can only get more people to want to come to our district. And I was watching the school committee meeting, and we have so many people wanting to come to school choice in this district, and there's a reason. We're doing great things in this district, and technology is just one of those pieces that we can lead Peabody to just a greater and greater district. So thank you for coming today. I don't want to take up any more time. I want to move on to teachers and students to present, because they're really why we're here today. If you have any questions, I'm going to be here until 1. But thanks again for coming. And that is my presentation.
Now I will be introducing Mrs. Linda Heafy. Mrs. Linda Heafy has taught English at Higgins Middle School for 9 years. She teaches the advanced writing seminar class here in the library. And in her free time, she develops reading and writing lessons for Higgins Middle School students, which are available for teachers all over the world to use for free by going on learnzillion.com. Please welcome Mrs. Linda Heafy.
Thank you. Am I supposed to stand over here? Can you guys hear me without the microphone, I think? I teach an advanced writing class, and so I have 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And I've been doing that now for, I think this is my 4th year. I've taught 6th grade, I've taught 8th grade, but I now have small groups of students, and I focus on a particular type of writing with each grade level. With my 6th graders, I focus on personal narratives, and we mostly write memoirs. In 7th grade, we write fiction stories, and with our 8th graders, we write poetry, and then we also analyze poetry. So we write argumentative writing pieces that are about poetry. So rather than, what I've done with my classes is have them, instead of having them pass me papers, which I've had enough paper handed to me in my life, I don't need any more. My students, in fact, most of them are all sitting here, so we could actually even have some people talk about it. But my students share their writing with one another, and we talk about their writing, and we offer suggestions for improvements. And so a lot of the focus is on drafting, receiving feedback, and then incorporating that feedback into further drafts. And in a lot of cases, because I only see my students twice a week, they really probably only produce a couple of finished pieces in the quarter. But all of those are done by sharing online. And what I've done here is I'm going to show you just a couple of platforms that we have used, and all of which can be used on the Chromebooks next year. KidBlog is a software product that allows students to post their writing, and that can include links to Google Docs if they want to. And then it also provides a forum for commenting. So right here you see a class of students. Over here on the right, there's the list of students, and then what they've posted. We can take a look at somebody's at someone's page and take a look at what they've, at the different pieces of writing, for instance, here that Patrick has posted. And then we can also go to a series of, we can take a look at the comments that other students have posted in response to people's writing. So for instance, you know, sixth graders, of course, are learning how to comment. So some of these you'll see are, oh, that was a really wicked fun time. And we get from comments like that to, you know, I really like the way you described the store. You described it so well that I felt like I've been there and I've seen the store before. And then you know, you might go on and you know, they're taught to add suggestions. So that's one platform that we've used really successfully in the writing classes. Another platform is actual Google web pages. So these are pages that I designed and have all of my students listed, who can then post to those pages. So each student would have a page, but all of my 7th graders have access to reading the writing of other students' posts. So for instance, we can go and see what, here's a series of essays that my 7th graders did last year, which are this I believe essays. And so, you know, there's a concept of a digital writing portfolio. And then this year, we've also, with the 8th graders who are focusing on poetry, have also developed a series of of their own website pages. So for instance, here's one, they developed their own pages from scratch, took their own photographs, posted their own poems, and used them to share. So not only were they getting the practice of doing the writing and the giving one another feedback and incorporating that feedback in subsequent drafts, but they were also getting that experience of actually publishing their own work on a website. So this is just a few. These are just a few of the ones that that my students have done this year. This is a particularly cute picture of Sydney, right? And so here she is showing off of her, and so either her analysis or her actual poems are on websites, web pages. The other thing that I thought maybe you would like to take a look at is I have a group of 6th graders who are in the lab right now, and they are working on developing their touch typing skills, because that is another thing that we have found. Students, not only did what happened is we've stopped teaching them how to write in cursive, but we forgot to teach them how to type. So we now have middle school students who are hunting and pecking. And if they get into high school hunting and pecking, they're going to peck the rest of their lives. So I've sort of made it my personal mission to try and teach as many of them to touch type. How many touch typists do we have over here? Did anybody, can anybody talk to like learning a little bit about how to touch type? Come on up.
Last year I was part of Miss Heafy's class, and I actually won the 2nd place award of the touch typing. And I thought that as I went through her class and I used the touch typing skills, it helped me get a lot more of my ideas down and not worrying about what letters I'm typing. And it just comes to me naturally now, and it was very helpful. It helps me a lot in my writing now.
Perfect. Yeah. So I do have some students right now who are in the lab touch typing, using a program and practicing their touch typing skills. And I'm hoping that when I get them as 6th graders, I can, you know, by the time they're 8th grade and they're in the 8th grade, they're really able to touch type without looking. So if anybody would like to, we can take a little tour into the lab if you'd like. Anybody? Sure. See 6th graders typing?
I got your back.
Happy Digital Learning Day. Again, we would like to welcome you to our Technology Achievement Fair at Higgins Middle School. Now I would like to introduce the student-teacher panel. First, teachers and students will respond to questions about using technology. Then, any audience members will be able to pose questions to panel. Please join me in welcoming 8th grade teachers Krista Shea, Sue Mulligan, Jeanette Quirk, Dan Arsenault, and Nino Fernari. Also, please welcome students Adrian Canella, Yali Madrano, Johnny Moyes, and Jessica Basilar.
I haven't typed if you want.
Oh, let me get it. Yeah. Thank you so much. So I'm going to be moderating this panel. Nobody else really is suited to asking questions and looking for answers, right? Okay, so let's get started. So the purpose of this panel is to talk with some teachers and students here at Higgins Middle School. All the teachers that are up here are 8th grade teachers, and all the students up here are 8th graders. So we're trying to get a good mix of different age groups. We have 6th grade teachers, 7th grade teachers presenting. Mrs. Heafy was an exploratory teacher. So now we're going to take a look at the 8th grade teachers. I'm going to ask them a couple questions. We're going to look for some responses, if anybody wants to volunteer answers. And then once we've answered all of the pre-selected questions, we're going to go to the audience if anybody has a specific question that was not answered or anything else they want more information about. I don't think we're going to use the mic. I think we're good. I think we're loud enough. I'll use the mic for questions. That's cool. Okay, so our first question. What is one way technology has changed the classroom? And let's start with, let's have the students come up to the microphone so they can hear things. If any student wants to speak, they come up to the microphone. But why don't we start with some student perspective? What's one way technology has changed the classroom?
Made it really good.
Just bring it down.
Well, one way that technology has actually helped and improved our classroom is by actually having us integrate from old types such as textbooks and basically copying down questions and answers, is that we actually get to use technology by writing down and excluding by advancing into technology, such as using homework and take-home quizzes by using them in technology, and using take-home quizzes so that they can actually comment back saying, oh, this is what you did wrong and this is what you need to improve on.
I'd say that everything is neater now because everything in Google Classroom it can be on one doc. Everything will be on one doc as when they assign an assignment. So everything is neater because we can see it, and teachers as well, they can show us videos with the internet and other presentations, so it works well with the classroom.
So any teacher perspectives, what's one way do you feel like technology has changed your classroom since the integration of technology? Anybody wants to, so Darren?
Yeah, so I think a challenge a lot of teachers have is figuring out how to make the most of the small amount of time you have in the class period. We only have, 50 minutes at most. So by the time you're done with the journal entry at the beginning of class, I took it out at the end of the class, you really don't have that much time to get into full lesson. So with technology, it really streamlines the process and it makes things much more efficient because you don't have to spend the time, collecting handout, passing things out at the beginning of class, collecting homework at the end of class, using paper to kind of the laborious processes that happen with paper. Everything is now in a digital space and it all happens automatically, whether it's disseminating work to students or whether it's grading the work at the end of class or giving them instant feedback. It opens up all that instructional time that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So it's changed my classroom in a huge way because I can teach more stuff with the same amount of time.
Okay, any other teacher responses before we move on to the next question? We're going to try to come to as many people as possible. I just want to keep the time in the essence, so I'm going to maybe four answers per question. We'll go to Ms. Quirk.
I think it adds more time as well. It makes me more 24/7, for lack of a better term. With having Google Classroom, all of my materials are up there. Kids can access it if they lose anything. That sort of missing days because they're absent. Everything is up there. They can email me comments back and forth. I just think it adds to that lack of time we have in the classroom sometimes, and makes us all more 24/7.
Okay, so our second question is, what are some ways in which you have integrated technology into your classroom? So we talked about how it's changed the classroom, but how have you integrated technology in a positive or productive way?
So I can start for this one.
Yeah, Ms. Shea, go ahead.
So for quick formative assessments, it's definitely easier because even though for math we're still doing a lot of the work on paper, but we can then input the answers into the Google form. I can then analyze the results. Also with our math program, we do have a whole component online, and it quickly breaks down by question how many students got each question wrong. I then know how to remediate and go back and reteach what I need to teach. And it's just that quick feedback. I think it helps everybody overall, not only the teachers, it's helping the students because we can see exactly where the mistakes are, as opposed to like with an English assignment, waiting 3 or 4 days to finally, see what's going on for those little things.
Anyone over here? Yeah, Mr. Fenari.
I have to echo what everyone said about the organizational aspect of it. I mean, I think that's a big piece. But another major piece is my curriculum. So I'm a social studies teacher. So social studies is ever changing. I mean, current events is a major, major role of social studies. So there's nothing better than being able to use not a current event from 3 weeks ago or a newspaper article from a month ago, but you're opening up the Boston Globe or Salem Evening News from that very moment. And you're talking about, comparing the presidency elections from the 1800s to the presidency elections of going on right now. And what is this guy doing? What is that guy doing? And comparing the two. So, having modern day technology to actually work it right in with your curriculum is outstanding, especially for my curriculum. And I know, everyone else uses it as well. Yeah.
And I'll chime in.
Thank you.
Sure. I think one of the ways it helps is with student collaboration. It helps with the ease and the speed of student collaboration in the classroom. Also from home to the classroom. So I'll give the students a reading assignment and put up a forum onto Google Classroom for that assignment, and they'll have questions based on their reading. Not only will I be able to see their answers right away, but they get a feedback immediately from one of the add-ons for the form. They get feedback immediately when they submit it, so they know which ones they got right, which ones they got wrong. I can also allow them to see what the answers should have been, and we can talk about it in class the next day. The other way, another way I just started using technology is Instagram. I've been waiting to use Instagram in the classroom, and the kids have been generating their own writing prompts. And so I've been taking those and putting them up on the Instagram and using them in the classroom, so.
All right, so this question is, currently at Higgins we are not one-to-one. We do have some technology in the building, but beyond that, what are some barriers in general? Even if we were truly one-to-one, what are some barriers to using technology in the classroom?
So I think a lot of the students have grown up with screens in front of them, whether it's phones or computers, and there's this idea of this screen is not necessarily a place for academia, it's a place for recreation. So I think it's kind of a responsibility of the teachers to emphasize that, this is the academic space. This is a tool that we're using to advance ourselves educationally. So it's something that I think we all have to be conscious of, is kind of keeping them aware of that, especially during unstructured periods, during academic support, just reminding them, because it's easy. I think I would be, if I grew up with a phone in my hand, it's easy for those lines to be blurred, I think. So that can potentially be a barrier that I think we should be conscious of, because we want it to be a tool for learning, not an impediment to learning.
And Jessica, go ahead.
Go up to the mic, or can I just stay here?
Huh? You can just stay there. You can just be loud.
I understand that there are a lot of people in the building using Chromebooks and iPads at the same time. So often we have trouble using the Wi-Fi and getting everyone online at the same time. And also, not everyone has the chance to use the Chromebooks often, so they don't really understand some of the problems that go on with the internet. And sometimes there are just these simple problems with the Chromebooks that people should learn how to fix. like getting rid of the keyboard at the bottom of the screen has been a big problem. So working on learning how to use the Chromebooks is also a big thing we should try to do.
Okay, so maybe we'll go to one final question, because I want to make sure that the teachers can get back to class so they're not late to their classes. What is something that the district can do, and this can be something that could be possibly applied to K through 12, what's something the district can do to really support technology integration in the district? What's one thing you could think of? And I'm going to start with a student perspective. What's something if you could tell the district, this is what we need as students in order to be successful with technology, what would be that thing that you would recommend? Adrian.
Well, some schools do it now, but a good thing would be to add iPads or Chromebooks because over time they learn it gradually, so it's good that they have like a starting point where they learn how to use it, then they keep adding it, and as of now, we do a lot of work with it in Pisces where we're in our Chromebooks. So it works really well, so if they start how to do it, they can keep advancing. And I think it'd be great for them to have iPads and Chromebooks as technology is advancing in the world.
Okay, and Yali, go ahead.
I think that actually teaching the teachers how to use technology for school items is actually a really big thing because there's a lot of teachers in the school and in every other school that doesn't really understand technology and how to use Google Classroom and how to use Google Docs. So I think the district actually teaching the teachers how to further enhance their knowledge about using technology is a really good thing for us.
And then Johnny, one last comment before we go to a teacher.
Going for the mic.
Johnny, your word is, oh, sorry, that's spelling. Yep.
I think that the district could teach the elementary school kids how to touch type and use Google Docs and other Google Classroom things.
All right, thanks, Johnny. And teacher input. Gotta start with Sue. We'll go right across the board, and I think that's going to close us off so the teachers can get back to their class.
I think that one of the most important things to have, now that we'll be using a lot of technology in the school, is to have a long-term living vision of where we want to be with technology in the future and find ways to fund that vision for the future.
Mr. Bernard?
I have to echo what this young gentleman was saying about the one-on-one initiative. I'm really excited about this next year for us, and I hope that it continues through other schools. And the big reason is, as a teacher, we're taught so many times that structure and consistency brings success to your classroom. So bringing in a laptop or a Chromebook or an iPad once every 2.5, 3, 4 weeks, yeah, it's a treat. But like Mr. Arsenault was saying, you know what I mean, making that the students understand that this is an academic aspect right now. So having those computers, having those laptops in there on a consistent basis builds structure, builds consistency, which then the students notice that this is not, there's playtime and then there's work time, and that computer can be used for both things. So I think showing that and then carrying it through to different schools and carrying it through to different grades will really show a huge learning curve for these students and how the success rate of going off to college and into the workforce. I think our kids could be leaps and bounds over other school districts because of this consistency and structure.
Yeah, so along the same lines of the consistency and structure, and also piggybacking on what Johnny was saying before, there's a learning curve. If you haven't used Chromebooks, if you haven't used this technology the way it's supposed to be used in the classroom, you could be at a severe disadvantage going into this school. If we have a one-to-one program here and a kid comes into here in the 6th grade and they have no experience with it, then they're at a severe disadvantage. So, and also the same going to the high school. You know, in our cluster we're lucky enough to have Chromebooks. Just the idea of that not necessarily being consistent across the board. If they go to the high school, will they have the same expectations there that we do have here? And if not, would that be disruptive for them? So I guess, yeah, consistency across the board through elementary and beyond, through middle school and high school.
And I think as a district, we need to look at the curriculum and not so much be locked in on something for 5 to 10 years. We need to start looking at things digitally and maybe looking into companies that allow you to constantly update your curriculum. Because with everything changing, every subject constantly, we need to kind of be on board now that we don't need that textbook for 20 years. Let's see what the companies can offer us, what we can do to support our kids each year, and how the curriculums are changing every year.
Okay, maybe a final word from Ms. Quirk?
I would recommend that perhaps the district make things more accessible and deal more with safety for students. I think that accessibility for all students, like maybe partnering with the libraries, having a backup plan to Wi-Fi at their home or making Wi-Fi at everyone's home more accessible for them as a city. But then also partnering with places like the library to help with that. And as well, I think we need to do a better job with safety and etiquette, of technology etiquette. I think.
I just want to piggyback on that. Maybe having the DA come in not only for the middle school, but maybe some of those elementary school, like your 4th and 5th grades, doing like a parent night. And I think we're focusing on Chromebooks right now, But I think in general, we need to focus on technology, and parents need to really be aware of everything that's out there as far as what their kids might be using on tablets and phones, and having someone from the DA's office to come in and really
Constantly
explain that.
changes, and what we tell them one year could be something different the next year. I just think we need to help them with that so that they truly understand what they're putting out there is not gone in 5 minutes and it means something.
And that beautifully ties into the whole theme of Digital Learning Day for today, which is digital equity, and talking about the concept that everybody needs to have the ability to train and learn how to use technology effectively, and the idea of digital literacy, which are two of the big ideas that we want to embed in K-12 curriculum in Peabody, of training students and giving students the experience so they go out into the real world understanding how it affects them. So we really like to thank the teachers and students for participating in a panel today. I'm going to let them go to class now. Let's have a round of applause.
Hi, I'm Samantha. Like half of you know me, right? Okay, so Mrs. Bobby Orlando has been teaching 7th grade science at the Higgins for the past 7 years. She has always been interested in learning new technologies to incorporate into the classroom. A particular interest of Mrs. Orlando is using technology to acquire more immediate feedback to her and her students. Mrs. Orlando was eager to use audience response systems when they first arrived at the school, and continues to utilize this technology. For the last 2 years, she has utilized Google Apps for Education to access her students and analyze their academic progress. Join me in welcoming Mrs. Bobby Orlando.
Thanks, Samantha. Do I have to talk into the mic?
No.
Thanks. As Samantha said, in 2009, Peabody District, or at least the Higgins, acquired at least one set of, I don't want that there, this, audience response systems. And the Salem News actually came in. This is an article. I don't know if I shared it with the students this year, but the Salem News came in and they did a write-up on how this technology is really useful in the classroom. So the audience response system, the transmitter gets plugged into the computer, and then each student gets, we call them clickers, a little clicker, and they have their clicker assigned to their particular name, which is a little bit of prep before the kids come into school, but it takes probably about a half hour to an hour to set up the actual classes, and then they're good to go for the whole school year. So setting up a clicker exam would take a little time too, but the benefits of it is far outweighs how much time I have to spend to actually create something like this. So if we're using an audience response system on a particular day, the students would get their clicker and they would answer questions. I would have a presentation like this. They punch in 1, 2, 3, or 4 on the little clicker, and I get this, the graphs would change over here to tell me how many students scored right, and then the arrow pops up to tell them which question is actually correct. So it's immediate response for me and the student. So if I see that 50% of the class did not get the question right, I know I have to spend a little more time reviewing that particular topic. And there's lots of topics we go through. I do this for almost every topic we cover. And I brought some students here. Does anyone want to say anything about using clickers this year in the class? Do you find it useful, or?
I find it really useful because we go over the topic that we need to learn, and it's a fun way of learning it, and we review it at the same time, and it helps me learn it better, and then I remember it better.
Okay. What about if, Sydney, you were going to add, what about do you find if you get something wrong that's helpful to you, do you make a note, do you write down something, or?
Yeah, I usually have my notebook with me when we're doing clickers, because if I get an answer wrong, I write it down so I know that's something I need to go over, since I find out right away if I got the question right or wrong.
Okay, excellent. And So that's clickers. Does anyone have any questions about clickers? I still do use the clickers, but now that Google has these, all these new apps, a new technology I've been incorporating again for assessing student work is using assessments on Google Forms. So we just finished a unit test on layers inside the earth in our first chapter. And I had the students actually come here to the library and they did their test online. This, Google allows you to, there's add-ons. An add-on I used was called Flubaroo. And the add-on allowed the students, as soon as they got to the bottom of the form and they hit submit, they got, and Matt gave me permission to share his response. They immediately get an email that tells them everything they got correct, everything they got incorrect. Does not tell them what the correct answer is if they got it wrong, but that's always something they can check with after. This is really a time saver for teachers as well, because rather than me taking home 100 tests to grade over the weekend, or it might take me a week or two, this is immediate feedback for me. So if I do this on a Friday, I know if the majority of the students passed this assessment. So Monday I know, I have to go back and I have to reteach this. The students really didn't get it, or in this case, the students did really well. So I knew I was ready to move on with the next topic in science. So do you guys have anything you want to add about doing the test, Destiny?
I like it better than doing it on a regular piece of paper because we usually get an email right after we take it saying which one we got wrong or right, and it's just easier because we get to find out what we got right there and then because we get the email, and then it will show which ones you got wrong.
Okay, and thank you, Destiny. And it is very, very easy to create one of these Google Forms. I take my hard copy test, and it's just literally you type in a question, you add an answer, go to the next, you just hit enter, and it's super, super easy. The students will do these for me sometimes. They'll say, can you input these? And they'll type it right up, no problem. Super easy to use Google to create these. I think that was pretty much it. Any questions? I would just like to just end by saying that technology has made assessment in the classroom just so much easier and beneficial for teachers. We're just able to get data from the students immediately. We don't have stacks of papers on our desk for months waiting to grade, and then we have to go back and say, oh, we have to go back to earthquakes after we already started volcanoes because the students really didn't get it. It really helps with the curriculum and keeping the continuum with the topics. That's it. Thanks.
Erica Sandstrom is a digital media arts teacher here at the Higgins. She started her teaching career in 1991 in Missouri and has worked in the district since 1999, which includes 5 years at the South School Elementary as a third grade teacher. Erica transferred to the Higgins in 2004 to teach technology and has enjoyed writing new curriculum that changes and coincides with our ever-changing innovations in technology. She also enjoys teaching children and adults yoga and painting as well. Please bring in Ms. Sandstrom.
My brain went, sorry. Hello, people. Special guest here. Okay, so green screen. How many of you have gotten to use the green screen with me? Yeah, not as many as I'd hope, but a few of you from class, because it's new this year. We're having so much fun with it. All right, so I made a presentation to explain green screen, the uses for it, and some examples, and hopefully we'll have some time at the end to play with it as well, because I want some of you to get a chance to try that. Okay, let's see. Green screen. Can anyone tell me what a green screen is? What's a green screen?
It's a screen that's green and it helps you edit pictures to make you look like you're in a different place.
Right, you can go anywhere in the world with a green screen, and it's super fun. Where do you usually see green screens, though, in the world? Where do you see them? The weather forecast. He's not really standing, or she, not standing in front of the weather. They're actually standing in front of one of these. What else? What's that?
Movies.
Movies, yes, and commercials. They're not always where you think they are. Also, there's another color that works now, which would be fun with your shirts today.
Blue.
Blue, and it's the color blue you're wearing. So that'll be fun to see at the end. Okay, so for Digital Learning Day, let's see. What is a green screen? You guys already told us, and it's, photographers use it to eliminate backgrounds altogether or to create backgrounds, and it could be video, it could also be still pictures, and as you're going to see a project that these ladies did, which teaches you how to layer things even instead of just having one background. So you can go anywhere in the world your heart desires. You want to hit the red carpet? Do you want to go to the beach? I do. Okay, so these are just regular videos that have been uploaded and converted, and that's the one thing, you have to convert your videos. And then you put them into an app. And we'll talk about the apps in a minute. You can who can utilize a green screen? Not just students in school, but also your principal here, Mr. Busey, administrators, he's not even looking, and teachers, students, parents' presentations. Parents can use them even at home for Christmas cards or things. We made some Christmas cards this year in class with dancing reindeer. And then staff development opportunities, and it engages all learners, even if they're behind the camera. It's not always about being the one in front of the cameras. It's the problem solving that goes on behind the scenes, as you guys saw today. It just makes you think and sequence things. So, and here's your Mr. Haas. He was a brave volunteer, so we'll look to embarrass him. Oops. And we'll go back because it's too fun to miss. Oh goodness. He probably messed that up for me on purpose, right? All right, let's see. So when you play videos in here, should work. Okay, so this is one of our first tries before we bought the app, and as you can see, it has a background or a logo on there. And that was one of our first days. We had a blast, and we learned how to take out background sound, which was all of us laughing, and to put in music. And we made a magic carpet. That was one of the students' ideas out of a yoga mat. So he was our brave volunteer that day. That was fun. All right. Now I know I did. So benefits of using a green screen on a more serious educational note, and we're doing this now a lot. Students can make commercials, videos, newscasts, even in music class they can do a lot with their music curriculum. Stories, digital stories, which are very popular. Green screen projects can be used for all content areas actually, and you don't even have to use an actual green screen that's bought. We can make them at home, and there's a slide later I'll show you how to make them for less than $10. So a lot of my students have made them at home with even green sheets. Teachers and administrators can use them for presentations. I'm going to work on them this year, and then just the creativity that comes out of it. It just makes for a really fun environment, and it also it helps students in so many areas. And once again, you don't have to always be in front of the camera. Not everybody likes to be on camera. So. Okay, so as an educational thing, we do have some students right now working on perimeter wrap. We don't have students in the video yet, but you can find things like this online, and a math teacher actually here at Higgins found this, and it's already on a green screen. So if you Google green screen, we can put people in front of that doing our lovely wrap. So we're working on that. Okay, and then and she came today, one of our, sixth grade on there, I'm sorry. Seventh graders, no, sixth grade, no, she is sixth grade, I'm sorry. Sixth graders had a social studies project to do, and she asked me if she could use a green screen. And we just finished it this morning, and she just came to me last week or 2 weeks ago. So I was so excited that it's starting to happen here at the Higgins. So let's show you hers. I'm used to a mouse. All right. We just finished it this morning. So we're still tweaking it with one of the apps we're using. We need to get a tripod like that thing. Oh, you can't hear her. Oh, goodness. Sorry, you can't hear that. I'll have to fix that. So what we did here is we found this background and then we layered another thing to put in the green screen, which should be in there. It should be a weather map. And it doesn't seem to be working. But that's okay, we're going to show you another one. So in this was a green screen. But then we had some fun with it. We were like, you know what, let's learn how to layer this. Let's see if we can make this a little crazier. You guys are such good listeners. Okay. All right, so then we were playing around with it. Oh, is it not working? Oh goodness, I'll have to find it. It is a video. Oh wait. I shouldn't think out loud. Okay, here we go. So then we played around. So we put the flag in the background of where she was studying, and then we learned how to layer, obviously in the front, we put the dinosaur going in front. And now that we know how to do that, we'll refilm it with her knowing that she's being interrupted by a T-Rex. So yeah, there's so many options and with green screening. And I actually learned right after you left today how to put all those other things we wanted to put in there as well. So she did a great job, both of these girls did, and very proud of them. So we will hand in the proper one to your teacher and then fix it. Unless you want the dinosaur one. I'm fine with this. So here's some fun with the green screen. I don't know if I'll show all of them, but let's see. Just to learn it, it's a lot of fun. And, you know, we did a lot of silly things trying to figure out how to make it work and how to stand on things. And one thing we learned was that if you take a chair or whatever, a stool, we found out that a green and a blue yoga mat or even towels or certain colors work. Whoops. And so we can make people float in the sky. So there's two of your teachers right there. Then she comes and saves her. Okay. Oh goodness. Oh, then Patrick, is he here? No, he's not here, but he would always volunteer for us. It was great. Yeah, we're doing his dance. But we found some backgrounds online for this one. Okay. Always have volunteers. And then, oh, it still cracks me up. So, I want you guys to get a chance to play with it. I'm almost done. Oh, we made some Christmas cards and things like that. She was dancing with the reindeer. But let's move on. Oh, just more fun. Even with pets at home, the girls on the carpet and running from a dinosaur. That was really fun. This is when we first learned, and we realized in this one that you definitely need a tripod to do this. Okay. So when you have the free app, which you'll learn about, you have that watermark on it. But for a low cost of $1.99, you can get your own app on your own phone. So, okay. Heavy learning going on in my room. Okay, let's see. A few facts about green screens. You usually see them in the entertainment business. And the thing that's so cool is they're flexible. You can go anywhere you want. You can make them at home. And I've actually, in public, seen blank walls that worked. They weren't even always green. So you could be almost anywhere and do this. And I have done that before. So you can even paint a wall. That's the best way to do it, actually. But I have, and anyone's welcome to this information. And this is how to make homemade green screens, and it's 3 different ways. So I will share that information with everybody in case you want to. And I think the best app is the Doing one. This is a Mac app, and this allows you to layer the videos. That's how we got the dinosaur to walk in the front. And they say that other good ones here are Green Screen Movie, and then these are the top 3. But these are all Mac ones, so I actually put in here a bunch of ones for Android, because I know we're going with Google Chrome. So, okay, it's time to play. So you can even find things like the Minions online. Who would like to try it? We only have a couple minutes. I knew you would. Okay, just come on up, guys. Let's. The funny thing is, you all have blue shirts on, so your shirts might disappear.
Let's just be headless people.
Let's all just be headless people.
Serious stuff here.
Hey, you.
Okay. I'm gonna sit right here. Do you guys expect any different? No. Okay. I don't know why. I'm not people usually realize. All right. Well, we're setting that up. This is some fun ideas. That's what people can do. Become invisible, become a superhero. What do you call these? One of my favorites is cloning students. Cloning students is a blast. Okay, that's a lot of people, but that's all right.
Don't worry, we got
Why don't I just take a couple of this? Whoever's never tried it before. Thank you for coming.
I don't
Really All right, so I'm just going to do a simple one from VScope, and I don't know if this will show up here. It'd be kind of cool to see.
I think
Why don't you guys sit down?
Yeah, let's just do 2 separate ones.
Yeah, well, that's fine. We'll just put them there. I just want to show. Well, just go ahead and take a seat so the camera can see. So with this app, you find the background that you want. And you can pick one of their backgrounds or whatever. I mean, it just depends on what you want to do. But where should we send them, guys? Let's send them to Hollywood. No, we'll send them through the sky. Let's have them fly through the sky. Yeah, there's a lot of you up there. So, all right. So, if you ladies want to see, I don't know if you can come over here and see how this works, but just stand to the side. So what we do is we adjust this. So the background, exactly, wherever we're going, it magically shows up behind them.
Oh, wow.
So now they're all in the sky, but they're all just standing.
Just make their shirts.
Yeah, well, it's hard because they're all wearing blue.
Make them be floating.
Can I have someone who's not wearing blue? Sorry, guys, you're out.
I can take the shirt off.
Come on, she's wearing, oh my gosh, one of my favorite moms. Maybe we could do something with her. That would be great. Come on up. Right, make your bed. Okay, there's 2 right there. You gentlemen, ladies with the blue. What if you put it I have to finish this up, so.
Wait a second.
No, guys, why did they disappear here with the blue shirts? Because blue works. Because blue works as well. But that could be to your advantage as well. Very, very creative. All right, so there they are. All right. Where should we put them?
Now we look like papyrus.
So you can take pictures, you can do animations, and all right, guys, we're going to send you to a disco.
Oh no.
So yep, you volunteered. Sorry about that. No, I'm not. All right, guys, let it out. Go ahead and show us your best moves. We're going to record you. There you go. That's it. Okay, there we go. So what we'll do, we'll take that video and then we'll edit it and do make an output of a song like Boogie Shoes or something on, and then we have something to embarrass them by. But it's a lot of fun, and if you guys want to play around with the green screen with me, come by anytime. Lab 51, we're having a blast, but also for school projects, it's really, really great to use. Okay, thank you guys so much.
Now we enter the last phase of our Digital Learning Day Technology Achievement Fair. We have Yali coming up to introduce our last speaker. Take it away, Yali.
Hi again. Mr. Fred Bruner has taught science for 13 years in Peabody since 2007, prior to that in Florida. He has 2 sons who had graduated from Peabody High, both of whom are in college and felt they received an excellent education here in Peabody. Fred is a strong advocate regarding the use of technology and have taken several graduate courses pertaining utilizing technology in the classroom. Approximately 1 year ago, he was awarded a grant from the PEF for Chromebooks. It is a very rare day when they are not used in his classroom. Regarding BrainPop, Fred has used it extensively throughout his teaching career, and he would like to share its benefits. Now presenting Mr. Fred Bruno.
Thanks, Albert. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everybody. Last but not least, BrainPop. I think BrainPop offers a lot of benefits, not only to teachers, but to students also. They've made a significant improvement in their product since a few years ago, and I've used it extensively over the years, not just a one and out type thing. I've used it extensively this year. I know Ms. Smaller has assisted me with that, as well as Mr. Hawes. So I'm going to point out some of the features of the BrainPop that I think are important, not only to teachers and also to students. I've already logged in as a teacher. So for today, let's say, for example, I'm actually doing Charles Darwin this week, and I'm going to type in Darwin. And BrainPop will give me a selection of not only Darwin, but it'll give me a selection of related videos that I could also supplement my lesson with. And I intend to use all 5 of them for human evolution. So I'm going to select Darwin. And prior to doing the video, BrainPop gives me that good teaching practice that I can decide to use BrainPop not only in a full format, but maybe just as a quick do now in order to introduce the topic that I want to present. Also, BrainPop has a number of quizzes. I can also adjust those quizzes where I can make a quiz that I want to have specifically tailored to that topic. Make a map, I will get into that. Not all the BrainPops have Game Up, but most of them do, and I think the Game Up is a real neat thing, considering all of our kids are very tech savvy. They really know how to use that. The FYI selection, I normally start this out with a little bit of background knowledge because it gives me a number of topics that I can introduce the topic with. Personalities, it kind of gives a little backdrop on Charles Darwin. It's a lot of stuff that is not presented in textbooks, and it saves me the time of going online and trying to figure out, okay, which video should I present and which one should I not present, maybe because I'm under time constraints. One of the neat features about BrainPop, though, is that my ability to differentiate my instruction. With my particular block that might be a supported block, I do things a little bit differently, have the same content, but I present it in a different manner. As we all know, not all students learn the same way. I know I don't learn the same way as everybody else. So BrainPop gives me that option to present it in a manner that I hope gets the main point across. And I know the kids, they really like the comic end of it when I go through that. How did you weirdos survive with these eons, with these things? Since we're talking about evolution, we're talking about the flippers, not only on the bird, but also on her back legs. Kind of neat stuff. One of the neat things that I find also with BrainPop is it's according to Massachusetts standards. I can type in the standard per grade level, and it'll pull up the Mass standards for me. And not only will it do that, it'll show all related links for me. It saves me a little bit of time when I want to make sure I'm covering everything that the state of Massachusetts tells me I need to cover. So back to Darwin. the Make a Map feature. I found this to be a real neat improvement on BrainPop from over the past years. Again, it's one of those differentiating techniques that I can use as a teacher to make sure that my students have the main concepts, the main ideas in mind. I was just doing something earlier actually today, showing my students this particular aspect of Darwin. But you can notice here, I can play the movie from this angle. I can select images that I want to select and drop down in my Make a Map concept. They also provide me with the key vocabulary words. And that also gives me an opportunity to decide which key vocabulary words are important. Sometimes some of them are important, sometimes they're not, but it gives me a wide spectrum. It gives me that flexibility. I can decide which nodes to use, whether it's a rectangle, whether it's a circle. It really doesn't matter. The best thing about it too is when I have the kids submit their work, the creativity that BrainPop allows for you to express yourself in me assessing your content knowledge. Maybe it's a great concept map that you have performed. You can put colors behind it. I'm not the most creative guy out there, but you should see some of the stuff that my students have presented in the past, that they got these nice backdrops of colors and things that really make it interesting to me as a teacher to look at and grade. Let's see here. My classes. Okay, from a teacher standpoint, obviously we have A, B, C, and D blocks. What I have set up is a class that represents A3 means A block, third marking period, Penguin Science. And I've done that for first marking period, second marking period. And I'll do that again in the fourth marking period. So I have all my students registered in this particular class. I can do my assignments either on Google Classroom, or I can do it as a presentation on the board, or just a verbal presentation. The kids know it already. It's the routine. It's the structure of my class. So it's not like it takes a whole lot of time. It takes about 5 seconds. The kids log in and they get right to whatever the assignment is going to be. Now, some samples of work. This particular student, on their concept map, did this. And I can scroll with this and take a peek at it real quick, and I can compare it to other students' work and make sure that they have the main idea that I want them to achieve off of this particular lesson. You can see that we were in genetics here because we're talking about Dolly the sheep. Another example. Kind of a neat concept map that shows genetics, everything from DNA to twins to genetic information. And what I will do with this concept map to take it to the next level, not only, this is typically one of my differentiated techniques. This is just basic information here. What I'll do after this, after I feel that we're comfortable with building our key vocabulary, is I'll then have the students build a concept map that not only has these words, but also has the meaning or an example of the term. So instead of just saying genetic diversity, I'm going to have them give me an example of genetic diversity and build their concept map off of that. Now, this little comment down here, the first cloned animal was cloned in 1969, splitting embryo eggs. That is my ticket to leave. As you know, as teachers, all of us, we have a quick do now, then we have the main agenda, our lesson goals, and then we have a ticket to leave, which kind of summarizes everything. So, with the Make a Map concept, I am able to do that online, where I know kids have that ability, and it's really in their My Maps area. I will just have them type in a quick 3-fact summary of what they learned for today. They'll save it and submit it to me, and we're good to go. So overall, Brain Pop's accessible 24/7. I mean, it's never down. It's really a neat product that I will continue to use. I hope the school district finds the value in it too, from K through 8th grade. K through 3 is Brain Pop Junior, and then from then on we have regular Brain Pop. It's also in a number of different languages, and I really think it differentiates my ability to meet the needs of our students. Questions? Well, it's my pleasure speaking with everyone here, and I hope everybody has a great remainder of their day.